Okay, so let's talk about the twins, and by twins I mean these girls. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a fun one to make. I actually didn't plan this until recently because I get so many questions about it. So we are going to be talking about my boobs. Okay, so let's start by the beginning. I have a breast augmentation. In case you didn't know, I mentioned it a bunch of times, but just in case you didn't know, that's why we're talking about this. I'm gonna be answering questions about that and also talking about like what bras I like to wear for all types of clothes and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started with the breast augmentation. So I got my surgery 4 years ago. It was March of 2014. Before that, I did have good boobs. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that I had really bad boobs or that I didn't have boobs at all, because I did have decent boobs. Like, if I wore push-up bras or like bras with a little bit of padding, they look really nice. And they were like a C cup, maybe not a full C, but they were a C cup before I got breast implants. So I never really thought about getting my boobs done until probably at the end of 2013. I started thinking about it, but I wasn't really like, oh my God, I'm definitely gonna get them done. I had mentioned it to a couple people and they all told me, wait until you're 30, wait until you have kids. And I was just like, I didn't know if I wanted kids. And I was just like, what is the point of waiting? Like, I'm young now, I wanna wear dresses without a bra and all of this stuff. So I was like, I don't know. The reason why I ended up deciding to do them was, well, number one was because at that time I started working out a lot and I lost some weight. Not that I was like overweight before or anything like that, but you know, a lot of your boobs are fat. So as you gain weight, they get bigger. As you lose weight, they get smaller. So my boobs, what happened was that I lost this top part of my boobs. So they were kind of caved in because I was working out so much and lifting that I just felt like the top part was like caved in and my bras looked like weird. You know, when your bra just flaps out, that's what they looked. So I was really like bummed out about it. I love how my body looked, but I wasn't happy with the way my boobs looked. So then we ended up traveling to Colombia in December and I met my sister's best friend. She had had her boobs done and she was actually going to get them redone. So she took me to her doctor and I ended up talking to him and I loved him. And I still wasn't sure I was gonna do it, but then we were going back to Colombia in March. And I said, you know what, I'm just gonna get my boobs done. So in December, I booked my appointment because I knew I was going back in March. And in March, I got my boobs done. So I got my boobs done in Colombia. And I know a lot of people are scared of getting surgeries overseas or in other countries, and I get it, and I'm not telling you to go and do it in another country. I have family there. I went to a legit doctor where I had seen people getting work done there, and you know, to me it was fine. I'm not saying go to another country and, you know, if you don't have family there, and just go to random places. So I love my doctor. I had seen his work firsthand, so I felt secure and felt good about going to him to get my boobs done. So my boobs ended up being about $2,000, maybe a little over with everything, you know, with everything you had to pay besides just the boobs. So I think it ended up being like $2,300, which is super, super inexpensive, because around here, I think the lowest you could probably get them is like no, I don't think so, probably like 6,000, and that's really cheap. So I definitely got them super. A little bit about my boobs that I got questions about. I have 350 cc's, which is not like super big, but it's not super small. Now my boobs are pretty large now, but that's because I breastfed. So I feel like I'm all over the place, but I hope you guys are following. So when I got my boobs done, I got 350 cc, and I really didn't talk to the doctor about cc's. So for the longest time, I didn't even know what I had. I had to look at my paperwork, because all I told him was I wanted to look natural. I wanted my boobs to look natural, and I wanted to have a natural size. Like, I didn't want to have huge boobs and no butt, because I don't think that's a good look. I just wanted my boobs to look like my real boobs, just fuller at the top, and that's exactly what he did. He was so amazing. So they are silicone, they are not saline, because the saline, I thought that I should get saline when I went to him, because that's what I had heard, and you know, if silicone pops, you could get really sick. So I told him, and he was like, no way, no, nowadays. Like, nowadays you need silicone. They do it really good. You have less of a chance if they pop, and if they do pop when they're saline, your boob could pop and like leak. And yeah, you won't get sick or anything, but you would end up with like one boob and the other one will be deflated. So I was like, no. So he definitely told me that the way to go was silicone. So mine are silicone, and they are from Johnson & Johnson. They make implants, so that's the brand I have. And the other thing that is very important is if you get it over the muscle or under the muscle. So I told him I wanted a natural look. So for a more natural look, he definitely suggested going under the muscle. The other thing about going under the muscle is if you get your boobs done under your muscle, you are able to breastfeed after you get them done. So that was huge, because at that time I didn't know if I wanted kids, but I wanted to have the option to breastfeed if I did, which came handy because I breastfed Penelope. So I definitely wanted them done under my muscle. I wanted a natural look. That was the first thing to him. I said, I do not want 2 balloons on my chest. I want them to look like they're mine, and they do. Like, a lot of you didn't even know that I had my boobs done because they look pretty real. And I think that's the most important information about my boobs. Oh, the other thing is there's different ways that you could get your implants in. They do it under the muscle. I know they do it by your armpit. There's places that you could go by your belly button. I got mine done through my nipple. Sorry if this is TMI, but through your nipple, they pretty much cut off your nipple and then they sew it back on. They get the implant in there and they sew it back on. Now, what I've heard is that they don't do it through the nipple in the States anymore, or very few doctors do it, but in Colombia they do, and my doctor was amazing. I wish I could show you my boobs because you would never be able to tell. Like, I have no scarring. Unless you look real close and you know what you're looking for, you would never be able to tell. One thing that could happen if you get it through your nipple is that they close some ducts. So when I had Penelope, I was producing milk, but when I was talking to the breastfeeding consultant or the counselor, whatever, the person that comes to help you, she told me that she had some people that had surgery through their nipple, and when they saw them back in, they closed some ducts from like the ducts where milk comes in. So that could probably be an issue, but I did not have any issues. My milk came in just fine. Penelope was able to breastfeed just fine. I produced milk perfectly. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I breastfed Penelope for a year and everything was perfectly fine. And the other question that I do get a lot is, did I lose sensation on my nipples? And the answer is nope, I did not. They're just as sensitive as they were before surgery. So I think those were the main points about my surgery and where I got it done, how I got it done, and all that. What else? Recovery was really good. It was really good. I'm not one to get nervous about surgery or anything like that, so I wasn't really nervous. I was more nervous about recovery. Recovery was really good. So in Colombia, you have an option to get an epidural, pretty much like the one you get when you're pregnant. They could put an epidural and they could leave it plugged to your spine for the first 2 days of surgery, and you carry around this little bag that pretty much pumps you with pain medication. I don't know if they do this in the States, I'm just telling you my experience from Colombia. But you pay extra for that and you could have it because the first 2 days are the hardest. So I paid extra and they had my epidural. They put it like before you go into surgery, like how you get it when you're gonna have a baby. And they just secure it really good and they leave it there for 2 days. And every time you feel pain, actually you didn't even have to, if I felt a lot of pain, I could press a button and I would get more medicine, but it would just do it by itself. And you just carry around this little bag. So I got it done. So I don't know if, I mean, that probably helped me because the pain wasn't that bad. it was a little uncomfortable. You feel a lot of pressure, and you know, when you lay down, like you can't lay down all the way, you have to sleep sitting up, and you're bruised, and your boobs will get super bruised. Even though my incision was just on my nipple, everywhere was bruised. I did get baby blues. Boob blues, or after surgery blues, which I heard it was a thing. Actually, I was getting so emotional after I got them done, because when you first get them done, they're like up here and you're like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god, these are awful. My doctor kept telling me they were gonna drop, but I was just so nervous. And then you see all these bruises and I was like, oh my god, I got botched. So I would look on YouTube all the time for videos of people that had surgery, and I heard of this thing of like after surgery blues, where you're like kind of like doubting yourself. And I don't know if everyone goes through it, but I did. So I did get a little freaked out the first week, but then it was fine. And I feel really good. And the thing they tell you is do not do a lot. Do not lift your arms. Do not lift heavy stuff. So I was trying to be very careful, but because I felt so good, I felt like I was doing too much. So that was freaking me out too. But yeah, recovery for me, it wasn't that bad. I didn't get sick, and it was a little uncomfortable and painful. Of course, you have something new in your body and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything that you can't deal with. So that is it. That is all the information I have about when I got my boobs done. So another question that I get a lot, and is the one that I wanted to answer, is, do I regret getting my boobs done? And the answer is yes and no. So I love my boobs, but here's the deal. I wish I would have listened to everyone who told me to wait until I had kids or until I was 30, because my boobs are not the same anymore. They are not the same, and now I love them, but I don't love them as much as I did. When I first got them done, I love my boobs. They were perfect. They weren't huge, they looked real, but they stood there. I wore whatever I wanted, and they were just amazing. But once I got pregnant, my boobs started growing. Of course, if you get pregnant, you start gaining weight, your boobs get bigger even before you start breastfeeding. So I immediately noticed that my boobs were getting extremely big. And once I had Penelope and I was breastfeeding, my boobs were even bigger. And it was just so much. Like, I swear my boob was bigger than her head. They were so big. And then the other issue was my back hurt so bad, and it still does. I have a lot of back problems because they got so large. So yes, they look great now, and I feel like obviously if I didn't have them done, they would probably be way worse after breastfeeding, but they're not the same. Like, I have to wear a bra now. Yes, I have fake boobs. Yes, they look nice, but I have to wear a bra. Like, I cannot go out anymore and wear a shirt without a bra that shows my cleavage like I used to be able to. Like, before, they used to stand really nicely. Now they definitely dropped. And I really wish that I would have waited until after I have kids. So my advice is, if you are on the line about, if you don't have kids yet and you're thinking about getting them done and you want kids, I'll say wait until you have kids. Do not waste your money, because I already told Tone, once we have another kid or 2 kids, whatever, how many kids we have, and we're done, I'm getting my boobs redone. And the thing is that I probably gonna need a lift at this point, because he thinks they look fine, he thinks they look great, and I'm not saying they look awful, but they're not the same, and they have definitely dropped, and I don't like that. So my biggest advice is, do not get them done before you have kids. If you have the option, just wait until after you have kids. Or if you are younger, then get them so you can enjoy them a few more years. So I wish that either I waited until I had kids or until after 30, or I got them done sooner, because I felt like I really enjoyed them for 4 years. I enjoyed them so much. When I first got them done until I had Penelope, I love my boobs. I was obsessed with them. No issues. I absolutely love them. But then I had Penelope, and now I'm like, I wish I didn't have them done, because they're too big, they're too heavy. For breastfeeding, it was, I mean, I didn't have any issues, but it's just so much weight. It's so much weight. Like, my back constantly hurt. I constantly had like a pain right here in the middle of my back, and it was from all the weight from just carrying around my implants and all the milk. And because of that, even though I wear a bra to sleep, I always wear a bra, even with that, they definitely drooped. But if you think about it, I mean, it makes sense. Like they get so big, so your skin stretches out, and then, you know, they're so heavy, it kind of like pulls down. So they definitely drooped. So yeah, I wish I wouldn't have gotten them done, but I'll definitely get them redone. The other question I got a lot was, is it true that you have to get them changed? Yes, you are supposed to get them changed every 10 years. So that's another thing you gotta keep in mind. But like I said, I'm gonna get them redone after I'm done having kids, and I'm probably gonna go to my same doctor, so it is what it is. That's pretty much it. That is all the information about my boobs. So if you are thinking of getting them done, I say wait until you have kids so you don't regret it. And if you are younger or you don't want to have kids, definitely get them done. If you find a doctor that you feel comfortable with, that you feel happy about, make sure you do your research and make sure you know what you want. Make sure you tell them what you want, and you make sure that they give you what you want. Like, the worst thing that could have happened to me was for him to give me like huge boobs. And I've heard so many of those stories, or boobs that like looked super fake. And don't get me wrong, if that's what you want, then go for it. Like, so make sure you know exactly what you want and you find a doctor that you're comfortable with. That's my biggest advice. I know this video is super long, so I might cut it into 2 pieces, like 2 volumes. I don't know, but I will let you know. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it answered all your questions. Please, if you have any more questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer you all the questions that you might have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in my next video.